Okay, just so we all move into our regular formatting for the rest of the year as far as assemblies go. Just to note, open forum, these are the rules for open forum. If anyone wants to take a photo of them, it's the first 10 people to sign up, and you're only given 2 minutes to speak. There is a 5-minute Q&A period after, and we can extend that, but it should not exceed over 10 minutes. So these are the rules on that. And now we'll go to open forum. The first person I have signed up is Representative Bailey and Ryan Ewing.
Oh, yeah. 2 minutes. 2 minutes. Yeah, I did.
Okay.
Okay. Like a second.
Hello? Oh, okay.
Oh, 1 second.
No.
Can you show it?
No, good.
Okay, yep, you're good.
Okay, hi, I'm Representative Bailey from Wood Park, and this is Brian Wentz. And we're from a sexual safety coalition, and we're here to talk about an Instagram that we would really love your help promoting, and a sexual safety survey. We created these with the intent of kind of getting a better idea of what sexual safety looks like for students on campus, and how student government and other LSOs can do a better job of supporting that.
Fantastic. So it's really nice to see everyone here today. Everyone who bought their phones, I'll go ahead and plug our Instagram handle. It's Texas Sexual Safety. I'll keep on repeating that while it's pulling up their phones. And I'll go ahead and just really quickly talk about some of the stuff we have on our Instagram. Firstly, we have some tips, general tips to how to stay safe. We have a crisis line, some standard stuff such as 10-line and student emergency services, just in case something happens. And then we also have some confidential crisis lines, just in case you might not be comfortable with telling someone at UT, essentially. And then besides that, we also have some links to some support groups on campus. And we also state some of the health service resources that are offered here by UT, and some current awesome movements that are outside of campus that are doing great things.
And then just to kind of finish up, we launched this right before Roundup. If you want to know, Roundup has the highest number of sexual assault cases all semester, all year. And we would really love your help supporting it. So I'll pass this QR code around. Also, please share it with other people. There's an Amazon Echo giveaway. If you fill out the survey remains anonymous, but your name gets entered into the drawing. So yeah, that's pretty much all we're saying. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, all right, we'll now enter a 5-minute Q&A period. Okay. All right, are there any questions for the, yep.
Rep Holman. Rep Holman, hi, first I'll say that I love the work you guys are doing. Keep it up, it's really great. And I was just wondering if you guys were familiar with some other like sexual assault prevention organizations. I believe there's been like some talking, like they're trying to do like this roundtable discussion sometime this next month. And I'm just asking like if you guys heard about it, and if not, would you like to be connected?
Okay, cool, yeah, I think, we are, it's a coalition of about 20 people, and we have heard of it. I know some people are planning on being involved in roundtable. This is more just a different way to get, kind of specific answers as far as the survey goes. You'll notice that as we fill it out. But it was just, right then, and originally, we were looking at different options to provide more resources for students on campus. And our time frame for the rest of the semester just didn't allow for that. So we wanted to start with a survey that would give us a better idea.
Just quickly mention, just because I totally forgot to say it, the survey link is in the bio of the Instagram.
Any other questions?
Thank you.
Speaker 3 times the remainder of the time. And you all are good to go, thank you. Okay, we'll go to the next speaker, which is Representatives Tristan Getachew and Cindric.
Okay.
All right.
Hi, I'm Transfer. Oh, my mom's not told me.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Transfer. Hi, I'm Transfer Rep Ainsley. This is University-wide Rep Adrian and Helen. We just created a new diversity, equity, inclusion caucus that is open, so anyone is free to join. We also have a Slack channel that you can join. We had our first meeting last Friday, and we have another one this Friday, and anyone can come, so please join us.
All right, are there any questions for the representatives? Oh, I'm so sorry.
You're good. On my student affairs chair slide, or not slide that will be presented towards the end of the assembly meeting, it will have a form that you guys can scan if you're interested, so I can connect with contact information, so. That's it.
Okay, now, are there any questions for the representatives? Okay, the speaker reclaims her time. Thank you so much. We also have another speaker, Representative Mosley.
Awesome. It's good to see everyone. I just want to sort of give some general thoughts on AR02 and why, I would tell you all to sort of vote against and my sort of thoughts on it. One, it's advocating basically for a vending machine for emergency contraception, Plan B. And sort of my general thoughts, Plan B is a form of emergency contraception, which is known to carry the risk of causing early abortions by making the uterus uninhabitable and dangerous for a preborn child. Two, according to a UK Department of Health study, after 201 emergency contraception failures, the rate of a ectopic pregnancy increased, triple the rate to 6%. It was 2%. If you don't know, an ectopic pregnancy is life-threatening. So I would want to take that into account. Plan B does have a failure rate of 12.5%, so it's not as effective as you may think. According to the FDA, Plan B is considered a group 1 carcinogen. It has the same cancer-causing materials as cigarettes, and levonorgestrel, which is the main chemical compound in it, can increase the risk of breast cancer by 44%, can increase the chance of irregular menstruation by 67%, increase the risk of ovarian cysts by 31.2%, and it can lead to 13.6% increased risk of infection. Other side effects include cramps, nausea, dizziness, vomiting, and a host of other side effects. And so lastly, I don't believe that, the university should be handing out, potentially dangerous drugs that have been classified as carcinogens, especially in a format that, is very similar to, any kind of vending machine where you go get a drink or a snack. So with that, I would encourage my fellow representatives to sort of be opposed to this referendum. Now, AR01, I am looking forward to voting for that.
Sorry, the time has expired. Are there any questions for the representative? Representative Sanchez.
Hi, Representative Sanchez at large. Representative, do you have a uterus?
Last time I checked, I do not.
Okay, that's all.
Any further questions, Representative? I also ask that everyone keep the quorum, please. Thank you. Representative Williamson.
What was the source of the statistics that you say?
It was, it's a number, Planned Parenthood, Focus on the Family, Students for Life, I believe one is one, but I tried to get a mix of both sides.
Any further question, Representative Motherperson?
Are you aware that Plan B doesn't actually cause an abortion, as you just mentioned? It actually prevents an unwanted pregnancy by stopping fertilization. If you want me to explain to you what fertilization is, in case you're not familiar, I can do that.
That is its intended purpose is to stop fertilization, yes, but in rare cases, when an egg is fertilized and you take Plan B at that moment, it can cause an abortion, and that's according to the FDA.
Any other further questions for the representative? Representative Owen.
Rep. Holman, UI. So in that case, would you agree that abortions are more effective in the university should be providing those at no charge to students instead?
No, I do not believe that.
Representative Pablo Christian.
Are you pro-life?
I am.
Okay. Any further questions for the representative? Okay, the speaker reclaims the remaining time. Thank you so much.
Hey, guys.
Oh, that's fine. Okay. So next one. Okay, so just so everyone knows, as far as discussion guidelines, I should have moved the slide up earlier, but it's very important to remember that we maintain respect with each other, also to maintain productiveness and inclusiveness. Keep in mind different perspectives, keep everyone with respect. Please keep all side comments laughs to a minimum if you can, or try not to do it all. That's very disrespectful. Okay. And so as far as like parliamentary procedure goes, when you're making a motion, just be sure to raise your hand instead of just blurting out so I know who's speaking, as far as also for the minutes. And then also, these are some of the motions that you can do. So we'll begin with the two appointees. Are the appointees here? Okay, the chair would recommend, or the chair will entertain a motion to table the appointees, seeing as they're not here. Representative Whittington.
Representative Whittington, motion to table.
Is there a second? By what vote then?
Unanimous consent.
Is there any objection? No objection.
Point of information, when are we considering their appointments next week?
Yeah, we'll get in contact with them, make sure that we can find a time where they can be here to do that. Okay, we'll move forward to new business. First bill is AR1 for first reading in support of students' efforts to unionize Starbucks. Will the authors and sponsors go up to present?
Just leave it on after you're done.
Hello, everyone. We just wanted to say, we wanted to offer this legislation supporting unionizing Starbucks because there was recently 3 Starbucks locations near campus that were wanting to unionize their Starbucks locations. And a large reason, like since it's close to campus, a lot of the workers there are student workers. And due to like time commitments for school, due to rising wages, due to an erosion of trust between like upper management and the workers, we wanted to just write our support to be there for the student workers that are.
We just think that this is necessary at this time, just because we were elected to serve the student bodies and support their efforts and initiatives. And so we find it vital that we pass this piece of legislation in order to ensure that we are showing solidarity with the larger student body.
Yeah, so I think Adrian and Helen covered like pretty much most of it. We did include an addendum though, so in case you feel empowered to email upper management, that's from what I heard from Starbucks employees, that's the most useful thing we can do. Just email them to let them know like we actually support this. So just let them look performative, but other than that, they covered it all.
The speaker will reclaim the remainder of the time. The speaker will, or the chair will recommend that we enter a 2-minute working recess just to discuss legislation amongst yourselves, with each other. Is there a second?
Second.
Any objection? 2 minutes, please. Talk about the legislation amongst yourselves.
That question is very.
All right, I'm calling us back. I'm calling us back to order. Can the authors go back up there? Authors, sponsors go back up there for the Q&A period.
1 minute.
5 minutes. Can the authors and sponsors go back up there for the Q&A period? No, you're good. All right, are there any questions for the representatives? Yeah, Representative Line, ooh,
Does it have to be like a question?
if you can use your, yeah, if you can use microphone, just for the people on Zoom. And yes, it does need to be a question.
So we can just like talk about our feelings about it. Form it in a question.
Yeah, in the form of a question.
Put a question mark at the
Like we're playing Jeopardy.
Sure. Yeah, Representative Pollak.
Just point of information. So we're just asking questions and then this will get sent to committee and then we'll have debate next meeting.
Right.
Okay.
Any other questions? Representative Sinder.
Yeah, so why did y'all like decide to kind of author this?
Yeah, that's actually a really good question. And so we were speaking to someone who currently works at the Starbucks here, across the street from Insomnia Cookies. And they pretty much told us that they were like intending to unionize. And I just asked what's the best thing we can do to support you. And they think we could pass this resolution and show support for them and the other Starbucks partners. And send that to like their district manager and like the CEO. The CEO, that's the best thing we can do to support them. Because the other thing to keep in mind is like, this isn't just like any other sport. Like it's like student workers who work there. So as a student government, essentially, we do whatever we can to help them and uplift them in their mission and fight to get a living wage and etc.
Any other questions? Oh, yeah.
I have a follow-up question. So with the, I don't know if that's necessarily a Starbucks, but like the one that's in like the WCB, would that be like a part of it or no?
No, so the only thing, so we're not calling on any Starbucks to unionize. We're just supporting the ones that have already said to do so. And I also believe Starbucks that partner with the university can unionize. They have their own independent store.
Any other questions? Representative Lee.
Why?
I'm so sorry.
So I was wondering what exactly they're advocating for. Is that better working conditions or is that higher wages?
I think it's a combination of many things. I think the biggest thing from what I heard is a lot of these employees, they have their schedule conflicting with their classes, and they're not in a position where they can advocate to change that. So by forming a union, they can talk to management and collectively agree to schedule one of like each other when they're not having to choose class or work.
Questions? Representative Mosley.
Rep. Mosley, you want, has the unionization process like concluded? Are they like officially union yet?
No, they haven't voted yet. They're in the process.
And then follow up, is, so what is sort of the expectations of this? What are the workers sort of expecting to get from their employers? when it comes to things like shifts and that type of thing? And are they expecting any, are they expecting any backlash at all?
Well, I think they're using precedent across the nation. I'm not sure how aware you guys are with other Starbucks unionizing, but there's been like a lot of union busting where essentially management and like corporate will almost threaten employees who are attempting to unionize. So we're just showing our support for them. And also, like, I don't think it's like at least not my position to say what they should or shouldn't get, just because I don't work there. I just want them to know that we support them and they're never to unionize.
Representative Canada.
Representative Cannon, UI. I was wondering, I'm just new to the union like initiative, but like what happens? How do they become a union? Like Jen, you mentioned it well. Like how does that work?
Yeah, so they'll meet with like corporate people, and I'm not sure if that's out there, but so like from my understanding, like they'll just talk to like the regional managers and like corporate. They'll come to like some sort of agreement, kind of, and then the employees themselves will take a vote on whether they want to move forward with unions. But the problem with that is, I mean, like on a surface level, like why wouldn't everyone unionize? That sounds like a great idea, but corporate typically doesn't like unions just because it undermines their position when it comes to creating a good work environment. So I guess, long story short, they'll come together, they'll discuss what they want to move forward with, whether that's increasing wages or changing schedule flexibility, they'll vote on that. And if they vote favorably, then they'll have a union.
Any other questions? The speaker returns the remainder of the time. I'm going to refer this to student affairs.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll now go to AR2 in support of emergency contraceptives vending machine.
Yeah.
Any officers and proctors can go.
Okay, okay.
You get to go first.
Just keep it on. Just keep it on. Yeah, okay.
Hello.
Wait 1 second. 1
Um,
second.
there you go. This also one.
All right, whenever you're ready.
Okay, hi everyone, I'm Leland and
I'm well.
And we're presenting AR02, which is in support of emergency contraception of education on campus. Isha and Nikita, who we've been working with on this legislation, can't be here tonight, but we're gonna present a really good slideshow they made. It kind of shows all the overwhelming evidence in support of this, so.
Oh, shit.
So kind of like breaking down the presentation they have made, because they have actually presented the Senate, kind of going through what emergency contraception is, their proposal, and then they actually did a survey. I think they were able to survey about 500 responses, and then kind of the results of that survey, and then implementation, because they've really done the groundwork on this in terms of funding, distribution, suppliers, and everything of that matter. So for those who don't know what emergency contraception is, this is some examples, and it's meant to delay ovulation and kind of like prevent unwanted pregnancies. And there are a lot of barriers to access. One of the main things is being how expensive it is. It can be anxiety inducing, and that pharmacies are far away, especially given the fact that at UT, the UT pharmacy actually closed down, and so it's just like a lot of different barriers to access, and the vending machine that they want to implement will help alleviate that. And they actually got like student testimony, so some things that people say is that it's just not walkable and that there's limited supply. And overall, it's just very inaccessible, and this is a basic like reproductive healthcare need that is a significant population at UT wants, so that's something to keep in mind. And then among the survey, again, I think about 500 people filled this out. The overwhelming majority of people said they were in support of the machine, very few opposed it. And then in terms of why it's necessary, again, just catering to a significant population at UT, and just kind of like alleviating just barriers of access, because this is a basic healthcare need that a lot of people want. And again, it's just helping give autonomy to women.
Yeah, and some quick other facts on the implementation side, so we're gonna kind of talk a little bit more about what installing it would be like. So you
Sorry, the time has expired. The chair will recommend that we enter a 2-minute, oh, go to the. You can't extend.
I don't, not for.
No, well, you can extend Q&A, sorry. So the chair will recommend that we enter a.
We always extend, we just don't extend that open forum. Speak.
Okay, well, the chair will entertain a motion.
Motion to extend by 2 minutes,
Is there a second?
Second.
What type?
by unanimous consent.
Any objection?
Whenever you're ready. You can go whenever you're ready. I have to wait for them.
Okay, so kind of on the installation side, so Nikita is one of the people we met with on this. She's a part of emergency contraception for every campus. It's just an organization advocating for reproductive rights on campus. So they become the ones to maintain it. So it's already, the work is already there, the people are already there to maintain this, and it also would be jointly done with UHS as well. And it'd be also in a building that's 24 hours, so accessible for students at any day or day, night, anytime they might need this, which of course is the whole point, so they have access to it. So these are kind of the numbers and the financials of it.
So it costs around 2 to 3K to purchase the vending machine, and again, a lot of other universities similar to UT have done this already. And the amount that each unit of emergency construction would be $595. So the initial thing, we're already kind of looking into grants, possibly an SSBC, which is the Student Services Budgeting Committee, purchase to make the original thing for the vending machine. And then the actual thing itself, like, will maintain itself, because when people buy it or purchase it, it's self-sustained. So it's not like making a profit. It's just there to ensure that there is emergency construction always in the vending machine. So yeah, so these are some of the other universities and news articles that kind of talk a little about them, but there's just a lot of other institutions that have already done this as well. They're similar size and scope to UT Austin.
Oh, that's it.
Yeah, and
Okay. Okay, the speaker retains the remainder of the time. The chair will recommend that we enter a 2-minute, or 3-minute, sorry, working recess on this to discuss legislation. Is there a second? Any objection? All right, calling us back to order. Calling us back to order. We'll now enter the Q&A period for 5 minutes on AR2. Are there any questions for the authors and sponsors? Representative Cavazza. No, you gotta use the mic for Zoom.
Okay, so that sounds like a little bit of a silly question, but would this vending machine also take like cable bugs and that, or would it only be like that?
Yeah, that's a really good question. We're actually just talking with Rep Bailey about that. That's definitely something that in the implementation of this, that we could look into seeing if like with the university, if it's possible, we could do that. So we're definitely in favor of that idea.
And I've actually already talked to like the people who run vending machines on campus, and they said that this is completely feasible and that setting up like a credit card system wouldn't be too difficult.
Did that answer your question?
Representative Pinichi.
Yeah.
Representative.
How many like vending machines do you guys plan on like implementing and like where?
I think the first thought is just one really good question. The first thing is just have at least one. If this one's really successful, which we think it would be, then having more in the future. And then the location, that's something that we're still gonna be looking at during implementation, but again, a building that's 24 hours, so students always have access to it, just so they can access and get that emergency contraception at any time they need, and you have to do that.
Other question, Representative, Alacruz.
How much would you be selling them for, and who would the profits benefit?
Yeah, so it's not gonna be to turn a profit, it's essentially, each unit costs about $5.95 for the emergency contraception, and it should maintain itself, so once it's there, it should just like maintain and then.
And also, like $5.95 and then plus shipping, and so they plan to sell it for $7, so it's not really to make like a huge profit, just try and break even and make sure that it can continue to sustain itself.
Do you have a follow-up?
Yeah. Like, even after you break even, where will that excess money go?
I think that would be a good question to pose to authors. We're trying to speak on their behalf, but I do think that's something that we could flesh out more when they're here and can speak to that. They're aware of the data more.
Yeah, I mean, I'm assuming if it's just like a vending machine, like other vending machines on campus, then it'll probably just go to the, I'm assuming the money just goes to the university, so. But again, it shouldn't be making anything, at most maybe like a couple cents, but yeah, that was a really good question.
Representative Tristan.
Please stand wide. Have you all gotten in contact with any of the other students who have already implemented this at their universities? And if not, do you plan on meeting with them?
Yeah, so actually, they do have contact at almost all the institutions that implemented this, including Boston University, UC Davis. I know specifically they're talking about Stanford, but I definitely do have connections with people who have implemented this, and I think that's why they're well positioned to feasibly execute it here at UT.
Yeah, and then adding off of what Nicholas said, also the reason that Keita and Isha can be here tonight, they just were busy. So we're here is because we're also co-authors, but they actually did just earlier today, Nikita was texting us, they actually just actively met with advocates either on another campus or someone who's doing something similar. So they're already having those conversations, and hopefully during implementation, we'll have even more as we try and get this on UT's campus.
Any other questions? Representative Center.
Yeah, like how long do y'all think that it would take for that vending machine to be like up and running?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So like the initial purchase, I think of like just the vending machine itself should not be a huge thing. It just, we're looking through different avenues of possible funding, either if it's, we just do it through a grant, or if we do like a one-time purchase through the student services budgeting committee. So the actual vending machine will have that, now the actual placement, and then kind of that part, we would have to work with like upper admin just to see on campus where we could put it and just make sure it has that approval. So that might take a little bit longer, but like, I think reasonably, this could be something that could be it by fall or even the spring of next year.
Other questions, Representative Hayes?
Hi, yeah, Representative Hayes, contraception. Given that the university gives away male contraception for free, is there any possibility that we can make the vending machine free as well?
Yeah, I mean, really great question. I am right there with you. I think we could look into that, and then we probably have to try and find some additional funding. But I am not opposed, so, and I don't think the authors would be, or the key issue would be either.
Further questions, Representative Tristan?
Please stand wide. Do you all plan on implementation for the greater student body?
About like emergency contraception.
Like, are you gonna like share the slides of the greater student body?
We would have to talk to Nikita and Nisha about it because they are their slides, but I think that's a really good idea. And they do actually have an Instagram.
Yeah, where they put all the
Sorry to
information.
interrupt, the time has expired. Does someone want to make a motion to extend time? Representative Mosley,
Extend time by 2 minutes,
what vote type?
Sorry?
Well, by what vote type?
by unanimous consent.
Is there a second? Any objections?
The,
Oh, yeah, you can go.
Are we in there?
Representative Tristan, did you want to ask the question again?
Oh,
Or is it good?
could you share your social media with us, please?
Yes.
Yes, we'll send it in the Slack, and it is also, on the slides, and, yeah.
I believe it's like EC4_EC. That might.
Yeah, EC4EC_UT Austin, and then this is also in collaboration with the Women's Resource Agency, so UTSG.WRA.
Representative Freeman. It's on the microphone.
Hello. If this bill is passed, would we need to go to the school after to like confirm that we can do this with them, or can we go immediately to implementing it?
By school, do you mean like UT?
Yeah.
Well, like generally for most legislation, that would be how it works is like, even though the assemblies kind of stamp the approval on it, then we can already kind of go into the more further implementation, though we have like worked on some stuff. Nikita and Isha beforehand, just so like that groundwork is more established.
Yeah, again, this one emphasizes how they've already done a lot of the groundwork. They reached out to Director of Long-Term Wellness, vending machine, the law department, like they're really covering their bases on this. So I don't think implementation would be that difficult.
Representative Mosley.
Rep. Mosley White, so how often would this machine be restocked, and who would be responsible for it? And could you foresee that this vending machine would be expanded to other similar resources?
Yeah, so for that question, the first part was about like, can you repeat like the first part of that question?
How often would it be restocked and who'd be responsible for that?
Yeah, so that would be done jointly by emergency contraception for every campus, the organization at UT and UHS. They would be the ones like working with manufacturers to bring those in. And then the other part of the like the second part.
Could you foresee that this could be expanded to other resources inside the vending machine?
Sorry
Than
that,
just one.
sorry the time has expired. I will take a motion. Yep, Representative Fogger.
Motion to extend by 2 minutes by unanimous consent.
Is there a second? Any objections? Sorry.
For resources, are you talking about like more emergency contraceptive vending machines?
Different types of contraceptives.
I feel like I can't really answer that just because we're singularly focusing with them on just this one type of emergency contraceptive. So I don't know if I can really talk to other kind of resources that might be added in the future.
I do know in terms of implementation, during their meeting, they had said that at one institution, I don't know which specific one, in order to get it passed, they had to put other healthcare products, like menstrual products and things like that. So I do think that maybe in implementation, we'd have to put like other ones in there, but again, this is their lead initiative, and so I think it's whatever, making sure that first and foremost, emergency contraceptives are there.
Yeah, the main thing that Isabel and I want to help them with is making sure they can secure that initial funding. I'm using like our proximity to administration and get the placement as well.
Representative Weiss.
Rep. Weiss, Communications. So the first question I have for you is, how are you planning on advertising this?
A lot of it would probably be like student led, so I know their orgs are really great about like promoting. They've already been giving out like emergency contraceptive, it's just been on a more interpersonal level, but on Speedway and stuff like that of that nature. But assuming it got approved and placed on campus, then hopefully we could work with like departments who have like the TVs and stuff like that, so that students know about it. And it's also advertised in things like UHS's website, and more than just like those like student led things. So hopefully, once it was actually placed, then we could work on making sure that it's advertised so that a lot more students know about it.
follow-up, is that okay?
All right, the speaker is going to retake the time this time about to expire. The speaker will entertain a motion to extend. Representative Pena,
I'll make a motion to extend by 3 minutes, the unanimous consent.
is there a second?
Second.
Any objections? Order.
Did I introduce myself again?
No.
Yeah, so the second question I have for you is, you said earlier that we would only be making a couple cents profit. Have you considered raising the price by $1 or so to start a fund for an additional vending machine? If it is as popular as you expect it to be?
I mean, we haven't talked about that with Nikita and Isha, but I think the main thing is to make sure this initial one gets placed. And then, you know, if there was to be a second one, possibly looking at other sources of funding, or maybe doing another thing like another student services budgeting committee purchase. Again, not like oppose the idea, but I think the main thing is to make sure we get this first one, and then hopefully it's popular, which we expect it to be. And then if the need arises for a second one, and then we can really work on getting that second one.
I think it's worth exploring, but again, I think that they emphasize they want it to be something that's like just super upcharged, want to make sure it's really accessible, and cost can be something that's very, a barrier to access to the product.
For the question, Representative Center.
Transfer rep, Cedric. So my question is kind of like, are y'all gonna have like other preventatives inside the, vending machine, like condoms, to kind of like, not like you're promoting like, hey, like we can go willy-nilly, we're providing like these emergency contraceptions.
And not another institution, again, that they had put like other more preventive, like, products in there, so I think it's something worth exploring, but again, the priority is to make sure that this product is hard to get access to, but I think that there is a discussion to make sure that there are other products, let's make sure really promoting sexual health, on campus.
Any further questions? Representative Pena?
Representative Pena-Cola, I just had a question. I know you all mentioned that you were planning to place it in specific, gender neutral bathroom. But did you have a building in mind, just because I want to ensure that it's the most central for both, Southwest and North Campus?
I think the priority, we like are talking with them about a couple different like buildings, but like the main thing right now is just that it has to be 24 hours, and include a gender inclusive restroom. So that kind of narrows down which buildings, but like those are just, like, I can't really give you a specific one at this like time, but just making sure it's 24 hours, I think is the main priority, just so that at any time of the day, they can have access and be able to go get it.
And the office of that control like vending machines already is looking into locations that this would be feasibly built in.
Any further questions? Well, actually, here. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, the chair will recommend a motion to extend or close the Q&A period. What was that?
How many minutes?
Yeah.
Oh. 3.
3 minutes? Okay, is there a second? Any objection? Oh,
Rep Wise Communications. So have you guys considered, putting, I don't know, like an infographic or a poster or something right next to this vending machine? With just quick steps of like how to use it, what kind of effect this can have on your body. And I've heard rumors, even I don't know if this is confirmed medically, that you can only take it a couple times a year, or else it's rendered ineffective. Question mark.
No, really good question. So I know both WRA and EC for EC work on a lot of like informational stuff, and I think they would want, and we would all want that information to be out there. So definitely think that would be something that, there'd be a lot of informational graphics and things nearby that vending machine and just across campus in general, just so people know how to most effectively use it and take it in a healthy manner.
Representative Pellicristen?
Kind of like going, I mean, I know that they're like dead set on the vending machine idea, but why a vending machine that costs like, thousands of dollars when they could just have like UT, like vendors sell it for like $7, like the Jester Market, for example, like can they just sell it there for like $7?
Yeah, that's the reason. And, okay, so with the vending machine, it ensures, and it being a 24-hour building, it ensures that people can access at any time, while something like, Jester Market only operates at certain times of the day, right? So that's the main reason why they're really trying to make sure that it's in a vending machine, because then anyone at any time of the day can walk up and get it, rather than, something like Jester Market or Ken Solving, which is only operating at certain times of the day. But yeah, that's a really good question.
Representative Pena?
Representative Kenny Cole, I just had another question. I probably mentioned, just wanted you to reiterate, was this coming out of the SG budget or is this an SSPC budget?
As of now, because I'm gonna be the chair of SMBC, I'm not gonna be chair until next academic school year. I think we're exploring funding. Those are two areas that I think that we can tangibly use for funding. But again, we're gonna talk about this later, but we're gonna open a budget committee working group, and this will be definitely something that's brought up, and we can have like a conversation about it, just to make sure that if it's something that SG funds, that the vast majority of people are comfortable with that. So there's no definite source of funding. Those are just ideas of places that we can for sure get that money.
And then they're also still looking into outside grants as well. So there's a couple different options, which is good. That means we have options, which is preferable.
Further questions? Seeing none.
But yeah, we want to thank you all so much. And if you have any other questions, comments, concerns, please come talk to us, because we would love to work with y'all, and so would Nikita and Nisha. But thank you all so much.
The chair reclaims remainder of the time. Okay, we'll now move on to ex officio reports. Any ex officio members here? GSA President Sexton.
Odd that I got here. Rolling over the carpet. Hello, I'm Alex. I'm the president of the Graduate Student Assembly, and this is the last time I will be here with you in this current role since we transition next week. So you will have a new GSA president. I'm trying to remember everything I tried to tell you, so I'm going to go in reverse order of what I wanted. The first thing I wanted to let you know about, this morning at our PSAC meeting, which was delightfully planned and absolutely could not have gone any smoother. We talked with the budget office about potentially transitioning to fees instead of usage fees. So right now, if you attend UT or you graduate from UT and you want to take a look at your transcript, it is $20 every time. And what we are attempting to propose a study to look into doing is switching to a single fee model, where instead of a $20 each time you want a transcript, every semester you pay $2. But in exchange, you get access to your transcript for forever, because they're your grades. To paraphrase the budget office, it is feasible, but there would be a lot of hoops to jump through, and the university is concerned about discriminating against students who do not want to go to graduate school or who otherwise don't need their transcript after they leave, or ever, just period. But the conversation started. The second thing, the GSA met with the Student Parent Association over last week sometime, I'm forgetting, but we met with them. And we discussed the possibility of potentially using some of not just GSA's, but the other LSO's surplus budgets to subsidize childcare. Good news is that it is 100% feasible. Bad news, it is a 3 to 4 year process. So I'm not going to be doing it. I'm going in a week. So it is a thing, but it's going to take a lot of work. But having been in a student government role for a while now, I will tell you, in my educated opinion, everything is reasonable. But it's just a lot of steps, none of which are particularly difficult. There's just a lot, like literally like dozens. And the last thing is last Wednesday, the GSA passed Graduate Resolution 2022 S02, which reaffirmed our polite, humble request that SG cease representing graduate students. If magically tomorrow it happened, we are requesting a 1-year kind of grandfather so that the newly elected grad reps don't immediately lose their seats here. And just because it's not really worth to go change in the middle of the year. But in the event that it did change in the middle of the year, there are some sneaky nefarious plans in the works where any graduate student in SG now can just horizontally transfer into GSA. Technically, our constitution doesn't let us do that, but ours is much easier to amend than y'all's. So we can just temporarily create X amount of seats for the year and then they expire. So it would just move them over and y'all can go about your business. And we can go about it. But that's it.
All right, yeah, Representative Holland.
Brad Mulder, UI, just out of curiosity, does the Office of the Dean of Students, like, does she know about this plan to remove grad reps from SG to GSA, or is it something we should do and then see how it goes from there?
Monsieur Regan Louise and Douglas Gerard have been briefed on the plan to separate graduate students.
The question, yeah, Representative Center.
Yeah, do you, sorry, Representative or Transfer Representative Cindric, do you think that like SG will be like not representing the whole student body if like student or if graduate student like reps are taken away?
That's the point.
Okay,
Well,
so
so
like what, why are you as like in support of kind of like SG not representing the whole student body?
So the issue with SG representing the entire student body is that anything you all do, even though I don't know why I'm using my crystal ball, I'm gonna guess that a lot of you in here are graduate students. Anything you do, no matter what or how small, I don't mean that anyway. It can overrule us and it can overrule our resolutions. So if we pass a resolution that says all graduate teaching assistants want a $15 minimum wage, and y'all are like, actually, all university employees should have a $12 minimum wage, suddenly ours is invalidated because of what you passed. If we separate, it allows you to do what you've always done, which is advocate for primarily undergraduate issues, but it also takes away the jurisdictional kind of conflict between SD and GSA. Graduate students don't really lose any representation. SG hasn't really done a whole lot for graduate students anyway, and that's through no fault of like any individual person or any individual assembly. But graduate students would remain represented in Senate. So it would basically balance the LSS.
Representative,
Yeah, no, thank you.
Representative Kennedy.
Representative Kennedy White, I'm just curious if you thought about, so graduate student reps are in our constitution. And in order to change, there has to be a referendum. So if it's not done before, I think August, it would take 2 years to implement, just because if it went on the next spring referendum, it would then have to remain another year of grad reps. And so it could be 2 years before we get this change. I'm just curious if you thought about that.
We have everything. All we need to do now is just introduce the actual bill. The language is done. GSA is ready. The Dean of Students Office is as ready as I think they're going to be for now. If that makes any sense. We've been talking about it pretty actively and no one's killed me yet. So, I mean, we're kind of just waiting on y'all. No pressure.
Representative Sanchez.
Representative Sanchez, graduate representative. It's a little awkward. I wish I would have known about this situation beforehand, but that's no fault to anybody. I guess as a graduate rep, I have not received any actual like substantive information or the actual bill itself. So I'm just curious if you could send that my way and we can talk separately and you can send me that information. I totally get it. I understand like the student, GSA
as a graduate student, I love to be represented, but I also like being here in SG as far as like, I get to bring a new perspective outside of undergraduates. But I guess my question, the formal question, if you could just, if you would send me that information.
Yes, the bill, so the bill is being rolled into the larger SG reform, yeah. It's being rolled into the larger SG reform package, but, so I don't control what the final language is going to look like. But I can show you my educated guess of what it's going to look like.
Yeah, at this point, I feel like anything would, because last week it was a little awkward. I was just sitting there like, oh, that's really interesting.
I will tell you, oh,
No, go ahead.
Using my crystal ball again, it literally did not exceed 6 pages. And I think there were a total of maybe like 12 strikeouts. It was an incredibly small change.
Okay, just wondering. Okay.
Representative Whittington. No, okay. All right, thank you, President Sexton. I also failed to mention earlier that we kind of were ending our Q&A period to refer this to AR2 to the committee. Just letting you know, I'm referring that to student affairs. Okay. Next one.
I can do something.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I was gonna quickly do sentence updates. Nothing much. They're still in the middle of their transition with their new executive alliance. And then also at the last assembly last Thursday, they passed a resolution to eliminate the outreach coordinator position they had because it kind of overlapped with other parts of their the Senate's comms team. And also they passed a resolution to add a socials coordinator position to make sure there's a better and more inclusive culture within Senate. So just 2 little updates.
Okay. Next slide. Executive board reports.
I kind of had a little too much on the fly, sorry. But again, I'm just really happy to see all of you, and I'm really excited to hopefully have a really successful assembly. In terms of our weekly recaps that we've been doing, in case you want to know what we're doing, if you think of anything we should be doing and we're not. These are just some things that we did. We went about the emergency contraceptive vending machine, the climate march, talking about Project Connect and lots of transition and applications that Lily would expand on. And also in the Slack, I made a social channel because I do think that's important going forward, that we're more of a community. Just making sure just outside of legislation, we get to know each other. And so I was thinking that we could like go to dinner like after GM when they don't run like really long, and maybe have like a field day with Senate, and just other stuff. Like once we get an admin director, that'll kind of lead these efforts, because I do think that one of the most important things that we need to do moving forward is make sure that internally we can all like speak to each other comfortably and there's no like kind of like tension. So if you have any ideas for this, let me know, but please join the social channel just moving forward so we can like make plans and just do stuff together. Yeah. And if you ever need anything, you can reach out to me on Slack and text me or anything. Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Hi again, everyone. Hope you all have been well. My updates are kind of going off what Isabel just talked about. I'm really excited to work with you all, really have a productive year advocating for students and student material needs. But some of the bigger updates, so we did release our exec board application. Sadly, reps cannot apply, but we would really appreciate it if all of y'all could promote that. And those applications will be due Friday, April 15th, because we really want to get a diverse applicant pool that actually reflects the student body. So that's a really big thing that's happening right now. And then hopefully after that, at some point late April, we'll have an executive board to come present to y'all, and hopefully y'all will confirm them. And then the next thing, which is kind of just a bigger SG initiative overall, which we're doing, it's going to be not just an executive board initiative, but both with the assembly and us, as well as the bigger student body, which is what Isabel mentioned earlier, is the budget community working group. So essentially, this is a way to, 1, make the process of how the budget is created more transparent, and 2, make sure the budget is actually centering students' needs and different community members and making sure that, there's no frivolous spending on things that don't actually impact students in any kind of tangible way. And to really ensure that our budget, which is the students' money, is going back in ways that do actually benefit them. But this is a thing that's open to everyone in the assembly, outside students who aren't in SG, and we really want as many people to be on this working group as possible. We plan on starting meetings again later in April, and then this would be something that goes throughout the summer to around July, which is when we hope to have a budget draft done, just so then that can be ready for the first assembly when the budget is passed. But that QR code right there is just an interest form. That's mainly just to gauge, time commitment, see how much people can put actually into this. So if y'all are interested in this, and we're really hoping as many people as possible are, go ahead and pull out your phones and scan that. We're also planning on releasing some social media posts soon, and hopefully we should have access to the actual SG social media account so that we can actually start that better outreach to the larger student body, because really we want more outside students than even people in SG, and to make sure those voices are heard. But if you could also help promote that, that'd be incredible. Even throughout it though, if you don't necessarily join it now, once it starts, it's gonna be an open process. So we'll give like updates to the assembly and in the Slack and to the student body. But yeah, we would love for y'all to fill that interest form out. And then other things is that we're gonna be very consistent about making sure that our administration drive, which is in the larger SG drive, is updated consistently. I know that's not been a thing that administrations haven't always done in the past, including when I was a rep 2 years ago. The exec board didn't really update that, but that's something we want to be really intentional about, and making sure that y'all can see what's going on, outside students can see what's going on, and then it's not like if you ever have questions, comments, concerns, or want to be included in a possible meeting or initiative, that information is all just accessible to y'all. So we've already been updating it. It's in the drive, and just let us know if you have any questions about it. And then the other thing is just like, please text me. My number's up there. We're pretty busy in the next 2-ish weeks, just because with a lot of transition stuff, but I would love to get coffee or something. It doesn't have to be coffee. I think that's just the go-to with any of y'all, and talk about your initiatives and how we can better serve students. And literally, please text me. I'm a pretty good texter. And yeah, but really excited to work with all of y'all. So thank you all so much.
All right, Assembly Board report. Rules are right.
Hi, everyone. First, congratulations to everyone in RRC, Reps Cannon, Adams, Whittington, and Sahil. I'm sure we'll all become best friends by the end of the semester. We have a lot of stuff to do. But more seriously, I'm gonna add you guys to our Slack channel. So just feel free to do a one-to-meet when we generally meet throughout the semester. So just me. Then I'll also be sending them a procedure of how I'm doing the vice chair elections. But outside of RRC, I'm going to update on campus safety. So for those of you who don't know, this is a Student Government Senate initiative. I saw a few of you guys came today and last week, so really appreciate that. And for everyone who's taken the survey, shout out, you know who you are. Our goal is to have our report done by April 17th. And yeah, that's a kind of, or we'll see how it goes, but right now, that's our goal. Lastly, like what we did earlier, just feel free to reach out if there's really anything, whether it's red flag, just a rant or FaceTime, I really don't care. We talk about shows on Netflix, but excuse me, yeah, that's pretty much all I have. Thank you.
I think send over time.
Hi, everyone. Before I continue, I kindly ask that every rep takes out their phone and takes a picture of this attendance policy, just to make sure that everybody knows how that works. So just to get started, shout out to everybody in DOC. For those in my committee, please keep an eye out for a Wednesday as student government reform plans and more updates. For the larger assembly, we will begin enforcing the community engagement attendance starting in April. I sent out a message on Slack, so please look at that and not text me. I'll also be sending out a spreadsheet with regarding tabling within the next week, so just keep an eye for that too. And if you ever need to be absent, just please DM me with your valid conflict and at least 24 hours before assembly, and I will excuse you. And as always, please feel free to reach out.
I have a question. Can you say what the community engagement thing is for people who don't know?
Oh yeah, great, yeah. So for those of you who don't know, the community engagement attendance is basically just a requirement that basically reps just have to attend community engagement that they're not already obligated to attend. So for example, if you are a member of University Democrats, you cannot submit a community, if that, one of UW's community engagement events, it has to be something outside of the organizations you are already in. You have if you can miss one per semester, but that's about it. So if you miss another one, that will count as an absence. So please feel free to reach out if you have any questions or concerns.
Also, I'll add on that legislation too, that if you like work and if you don't have time to do that, definitely speak to the chair, because there's also some things that they can do with that as well. Next slide. Academic affairs.
Yeah, so I'm excited to working with everyone regarding to academic affairs. Make sure if you're in my academic affairs committee that you're in the Slack channel. I made it an hour before assembly, so it's pretty recent. If anyone's interested in running for vice chair, reach out to me, and I will be sending out info on the process that we're going through for that. I want to make sure that we hit the ground running, so once we hit August, we can pass everything we want to do. So I'll be sending the link to you for our first meeting, so that we can start studying and things like that. And then Slack will be our primary method of communication. If you want any other information like that, you can reach out to me, DM my Slack, and I can give Slack, and I can give you my phone number and email. And another thing is, when I ran for academic affairs chair, I said that I was trying to facilitate communication with Senate, which is something that I'm committed to doing. So for our assembly meetings, I'm going to try to make sure that at least one person from internal is there, and I'm also going to try to have representatives from the other college councils there.
All right. Next one. Financial affairs.
Hey, everyone. Please appreciate my name. Congratulations to Seth Greenwald, Reese Classen, Kate Chiapetta, Zach Moore, and Jackson Jadell for being on my committee. If you want to be a vice chair, let me know. We're going to have elections at our first meeting. Speaking of the first meeting, I'm going to send out a poll in the Slack to decide when we want to do our regular meetings. I already added you guys all to the channel. And if you need anything, call me, whatever, my phone number's on there, bottom. You can text me to set the meeting or whatever. If you have any ideas, I'm open. This goes for anyone in assembly, just call me. Yeah, I have too much time.
Governmental affairs.
Hello, everyone. So congratulations to everyone. So that's myself, Sterling, James, Joylene, and Jacob. Congratulations on governmental affairs. Just a reminder, obviously, the when we meet, we're a 5-person committee, so I wanted to have the best times possible. So please fill that out. I think everyone's in the chat. Also, if we could just stay like a few minutes after assembly, I promise not to keep you all too long. I just want to make sure that we get a good date that consistently works for everyone. Vice chair, like everyone else, we are picking a vice chair, so please reach out if you are interested in that. And then for overall, this is not just for my committee, but everyone, governmental affairs is a very unique committee in that we can do a lot of incredible things. So please, if anyone has any interest in anything that relates to anything really slightly beyond UT, please reach out to governmental affairs, myself, or any of the other members of the committee. We want to pass some incredible legislation starting with supporting student workers and voting, but that is by no means the limits of it. So please feel free to reach out. My number is there as well as my email. So yeah, thank you.
All right, next slide. Student affairs.
Hello, everyone. I'd first like to say congratulations to everyone in Student Affairs. I'm looking forward to be working with you all this assembly. A couple of things that I want you guys to look out for is the Slack committee channel, which I should have already created and added to everyone who's in this committee. Another thing is a message group chat as well as a when to meet for our upcoming weekly or bi-weekly meetings. Please be sure to stay briefly after our assembly meetings so that we can just briefly exchange numbers and just chat. Another thing that I'd like to say is if you're interested in joining the DEI caucus as discussed in the open forum, there should be a QR code on the screen. It's right there. Just scan and it should be just an interest form that allows us to receive your contact information to reach out to you. And yeah, we're currently working with both the legislative and executive branches to do more outreach to fill in vacant positions this semester. And we'll be working on more plans later in this assembly. But if you need anything else that pertains to DI caucus, be sure to reach out to me, Ainsley, or Adrian. Oh, and if you haven't joined the SG Slack already, there's a QR code for that as well. Please scan it.
Okay. All right. Hi, everyone. We're taking initiative as a part of our pledge to assembly. The first thing that we're doing is focusing on reforming SG after everything we've had last year and fixing some of the systemic structural issues that we've had. This is something that both Leland and I have, and Izzy as well, have put out inquiry in the assembly board, and that we want to get this passed by the end of May. So we're trying to make structural reforms to the rules and budget, maybe we will talk about a little bit.
Yeah, so thankfully, yeah, this is like something we're really excited to all be working on together and really just bridging those legislative and executive branch divides. But kind of to Kevin's point, for this initiative, the budget reform part is especially kind of taking us with those things where the budget might not be impacting students in the best and most tangible way, and kind of finding ways to ensure that can not just be something that's done during our administration, but future administrations is kind of mandated by our governing documents.
Yep, and then of course, we have the rules reform as well, that we're trying to address, some of those rules that we've had that have plagued us, and just make our assembly run more smoother, to modernize it and bring us forward. And so, I sent out this message from the speaker earlier today, and I created 2 committees, one being the Rules and Reform Committee that will be co-chaired by both Adrian Whittington and Jackson Cannon. And then the members are, well, I don't have the document on here in front of me, but I sent out the message, it will be in there. And then of course, I'll put in Slack for it a bit too. And then we've also created the Budget Reform Committee that will address all the budget issues. That will be co-chaired by Zachary Moore and Bryce Classen. And so more info on that as well. Yeah, so they'll get instructions from us that the things that the Assembly Board has prioritized for them to create into the bill. GSA removal was one of the things that we tried to prioritize. And so, of course, if you all that also campaigned on issue reform, I encourage you to speak to the committee that's relevant to the issue that you may have. Also speak to the RRC committee too, and the Ethics and Oversight Committee, because there'll be some ethical changes that we want to make in additions as well. So yeah, moving on to vacancies. Some of y'all I know are in Senate, so tell your Senate friends to tell them to get us new reps. Please ask them to fill our vacancies, because we need engineering reps, we need natural sciences, who else? Information, intercollegial affairs, medical school, nursing, transfer national reps. So if you know anyone that has interest, tell them to contact their college council or contact the college council directly. And yeah, we would like to have more people here. Social media, yes. If you are wanting to be a part of the social media team that we're going to try to create, and we're going to get them the legislation as well, for the Assembly Twitter social media. I know Marlene and you, I talked about it last week. Contact us if it's anyone else. Yep. And then just some upcoming events that I am doing. This is a little outdated because actually someone on D. Lidley's team has messaged me today, sent me an email, but Leland, I, and Izzy are going to be meeting with the Dean of Students office and subcommittee to go over just kind of transition stuff and do things. So we'll be meeting with them at some point. I also want to reach out to local elected officials just to be our guest speaker, just to talk about governmental issues facing us that are, outside of the UT campus. So yeah, that's everything I am working on, and yeah. Next slide. And so these are the committee assignments. If you have not seen it, take a photo if you need to. In a second. Okay. Good. Okay. Okay. Yep. So this is the UT Mental Health resource guide. If you need any resources, these are good people to contact. I will give a second for that. Okay. And any announcements? All right. Next slide. Second roll call.
Point of information, Kevin, as much as I love your twill blazer, which you did not fail to mention to me multiple times, guys, it's a twill blazer, in case you didn't know. Maybe let's not dress so formally.
No, you don't like it? Okay, I will.
No,
No,
do
Okay,
it.
no,
No, do it.
I am warning you all, for those who haven't heard, the next person I see in a suit, I will file a motion to send you. I'll say it something. This is the final one, thank you all.
look, as a guitar, I won't wear this anymore because I'm not walking around campus with this, so. This is maybe the last week, we'll see.
It
We'll see.
looks very nice. It looks very nice.
Is there any objection to closing the attendance form? Are we good? Andrew? Are we good?
We're good.
Okay. Okay.
There's not much, but
Good. Okay.
I mean, there is.
The chair recommends a motion to adjourn. Is there a second? Any objections? We're adjourned.
Yay. Good job, Kevin.
I'm in it.
Miss Isabel, don't forget my charger.
Is everyone
Oh, yeah, do you know how to upload it?
Let me stop it. Is this one? Which one's stop?